Yo, what's going on guys? My name is Jack and welcome back to a brand new video. Now in today's episode of the 5 tip series, we're going to be looking at landing and giving you 5 tips on it. So let's get into it. Tip number 1 is visit your landing field. Imagine you've never flown in Organya before and you've never visited the landing field, so you need to come here so that you can see what challenges may lie ahead of you. We're going to look at wind indicators, which fortunately we have many of here. We've got the windsock behind us, we've got the wind blades in front of us, and we've got a second windsock here. So when you're in the air, it means that when you're looking for the wind direction, you immediately know where you're going to look so you can find out which direction you're going to land in. The next point is you want to look at obstacles and dangers. Now in this field there are quite a few actually. So if we look here, we've got a road that runs all the way back and it runs across the landing. So this obviously is going to indicate that there are going to be cars running in and out of here. So that is something you need to keep an eye on when you're in the air, that you don't run into a car. And next we have in front of us, there is maybe a 20 to 30 meter ridge on the other side of this landing. So that can indicate that it's going to give you a lot of turbulence in this field, whether that be thermic or just dynamic turbulence that is coming from the rotor and the wind. Other than that, we've got the trees in front of us, which again will provide some rotor, and we also have the wind blades, which not only provide the wind indicator, but it's going to provide another obstacle for you to run into as well. It's good to spend around 10 minutes in the landing so you can get a feel for it and also check the main wind direction. We're in Organya, so most of the time it's south, but this can change at any moment. Quite often we can get a westerly breeze, or if there's bad weather coming, then we can quite often get a northerly breeze. So be prepared to check your wind at any time and don't get too cocky. So always remember to check your wind direction when you're in the air. Aside from that, it's really good to check out other landing options. Now, we're in the main landing field here, but it's good to know that you can also land back here in this big green field. We've got this brown field to our right, and we've also got another field to our left. So there are plenty of options for you to land should you get in a bit of a sticky situation, and that always fills us with confidence when we're coming to a new site for the first time. However, if you feel that when you arrive at a landing or a new site and there are a bit too many obstacles, there are some dangers that you're uncertain of, do not be afraid to walk away from the site and go elsewhere. Most of the time on takeoff you can see the landing just below you, or at least in eye shot. So take a minute while you're on launch to look around again at the landing from a bird's eye view this time, so you can see your wind indicators and your hazards from when you're about to land. So now that I'm comfortable in the air, we can move on to tip number 2, which is losing altitude upwind of the landing. Now this is because if you were to lose altitude downwind of the landing, maybe the wind will be too strong and you won't make it back, or just you won't have the glide ratio to meet the landing in the first place. So now I'm going to start to lose my altitude. Pulling some big ears. I'm actually just going to lean to the left so I can make some 360s with my big ears. This is a really nice descent technique. Even in the summer in Organya, I'm losing altitude fairly quickly here. So now that I've lost my altitude, we can move on to tip number 3, which is approach. Now, personally, I think it's really good to use the U-shape approach when you're landing because it gives you every opportunity to land in the field that you want. Now, you can combine this with an S approach if you think you haven't lost enough altitude in the first phase, which is losing altitude upwind of your landing. However, when you're using the U-shape approach, it means that you can always cut into your base leg a little bit early if you think you need to make your you know, make your field a little bit sooner because the wind is strong or because the conditions have changed from previous. So now I'm going to start my downwind leg. While I'm doing so, I'm just going to keep my landing field at a 45-degree angle to my right. And then I'm going to start my base leg in a second. And finally, my final. But tip number 4 is always look around you for traffic and look where you're going, so it'll help you make a safe landing. People get caught out by sometimes looking at trees and they end up going into trees because they get object fixation. And tip number 5 is get out of your harness nice and early so that you're ready to land.
It was great to get a quick flight in and show you guys through a few more tips that I've got. If these tips helped you in absolutely any way, please like, subscribe and leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next episode.